They say you can't go back in time, but that is exactly what happened to me this week when I visited D&L Stained Glass, 8824 Ocean View Avenue in Whittier, California, 90605. It is a true Whittier Gem. Dan, how are you?
Doing great.
Good to see you. We're here at D&L Stained Glass, and I really thank you for having us.
Well, I appreciate you coming by.
It's an amazing store, and I want to get into that because we want to talk about the stained glass and what you do here. But I wanted to talk about your family history in Whittier.
Sure.
And how you ended up here.
Well, my dad came here in 1946.
Wow.
Went to Whittier High School. I was born up on the hill up at Murphy Hospital in 1957.
Mm-hmm.
We moved out to East Whittier, early 60s. So I went to Ocean View, went to East Whittier, went to Cal High, went to Rio Hondo, studying art.
Yeah.
And somehow that art thing just stuck with me, and I found glass and never turned back.
So you, when you say you found glass, you found stained glass. How did you come across it?
I was studying everything in art, and painting and drawing and silkscreen and airbrush, everything. And somewhere along that, there was this interest in stained glass starting to boil again. Artists were starting to work with it again. It had been kind of a lost art for 50 years, and used mainly just in churches.
Right.
But there was starting to be a lot of interest in residential applications for stained glass, and so I got interested in that, and something clicked, and it's been satisfying ever since.
So you started in 1977.
77,
right?
yeah.
And this location,
Right here.
right here in the same location.
Yeah.
So what was this building before you got here?
Before we got here,
News.
it was East Whittier Review newspaper office.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So that was a little weekly newspaper that was delivered around Whittier at that time.
So like before the Daily News, maybe? Or
I think it was along with.
okay,
It was,
along with
yeah,
them. Okay. And then you took it over.
Yeah.
And made yourself home. It's a beautiful shop, and we're going to see that in a little bit. We're going to take you for a tour. And this is the kind of stuff that you're doing here. The
Right.
stained glass here.
Yeah.
Along with...
We do a lot of commission works where we build things to order. Cabinet doors, skylights, bathroom windows, entry doors, all kinds of stained glass applications, even sometimes lanterns and lamps and things like that. Then we do a lot of repair and restoration on old or broken stained glass. And then we sell the supplies to the hobbyists that are doing their own work in stained glass.
So Whittier is an old town, and your work is probably all over this town. I mean, being
All
here
over.
42 years,
All
you've
over,
you've
yeah.
done a lot of work here.
Yeah.
So was it a booming industry back in the day, or...
Yeah, back in the 80s and 90s, it was really a boom time. There was, at one time, there was 3 other stained glass studios just in Whittier, and we were all busy.
Wow.
Now things have kind of cooled off a little bit, and we're kind of rare now.
Yeah.
And I get people driving an hour or more to get here, to get their supplies and get their stained glass work done.
Yeah, when I walked in here, it was just by a chance. I didn't know. I know you, but I didn't know that you did this. And so when I walked in, the first thing you told me was like walking back. Welcome to back in time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it really is. It really is like that. So what is the history of stained glass?
Well, stained glass dates back to the 11th century.
Wow, yeah.
And so it's been around a long, long time. Historically, the church has been the place for stained glass.
Yeah.
One thing, they were the only one that had enough money to pay for it. It was very high technology to make sheets of glass. Labor was inexpensive, but the materials were exceedingly expensive. Now it's kind of the opposite. The labor is what's expensive.
Yeah.
The materials, although not cheap, are a smaller portion of the
Right.
project cost. So throughout history, stained glass has been a church thing, and it's interesting to look at some of the cathedrals in Europe and to look at the large stained glass windows, and they're made of sections, and they almost read like a comic book. And when you think back to before people could read and write, they could look at the stained glass windows and
It's true.
recount the stories.
They tell
from
a
the
story.
Bible.
Each
Yeah.
window tells a
Right,
story. Yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
And so
That's
they were
amazing.
a useful tool as well as being decorative, but they were very useful. It allowed common men to have access to the scriptures.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you do commissions as well.
Yes.
So if somebody came in with an idea, you sketch that
Oh,
out,
yeah.
or
No,
you can
sure.
do that.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll have a picture in a magazine, Architectural Digest or a
Wow.
decorating magazine. They say, I want one of these. Other times maybe they drew a sketch themselves, and that's
Well,
particularly
that's
fun
really
for
cool.
me.
Yeah,
Because I can
definitely.
translate their idea, their concept, into a stained glass window.
So I got a serious question for you. Can you make stained glass lenses for me? For my
Sure.
sunglasses?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That'd be pretty cool, right? Well, getting back to the restoration and all that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about that, but I
Yeah.
wanted to walk over to the work area here
Uh-huh.
and talk and ask you a few questions
Okay,
about that.
yeah.
So let's go. All right. Cool. All right, so we're in front of all of this amazing glass that you use, and I had to ask you: is there any works that you've done here in the city of Whittier? Or is
Well,
there any...
one of the interesting ones was working in the old original mausoleum up at Rose Hills. And I went up there and redid the stained glass ceilings.
Wow.
And panel by panel went through and cleaned and restored all of those.
What kind of job? I mean, that's got to be a huge job.
Well, it was a long-term thing. It ran about 3 or 4 years. I
Wow,
think.
3 or 4 year job.
And
Wow.
it was just as I had time in between other jobs, I'd go up and take a panel or two and bring them down and rebuild them and then restore them.
Wow.
And
So
take
that's
them
your
back
work
up.
up there.
Yeah.
So a lot of these homes that you've worked on, I'm sure you've worked on tons of them here in the city of Whittier. Are they heavy with glass, with
Yeah.
stained glass?
Some of them original windows that we've
Really?
restored.
Okay.
Other ones we've recreated from photographs.
Okay.
Maybe the window was lost for time, but
Mhm.
they had a photograph of the original house, and so we've been able to recreate the window.
Nice. Do you have a lot of stained glass at home?
Oh, yeah.
In your house, yeah.
My garage has stained glass.
Really?
My
Everything.
garden shed has stained glass.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said that you did some stuff in Uptown Whittier as well.
Up at the bank building.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Nixon.
Yeah, the clear story windows on the first floor, up high on the first floor, kind of a amber geometric design, and I restored those when they were doing the
Nice.
restoration of the building.
Man, you've probably done so many windows and projects in the town that you probably forget.
Just
Sometimes
about every
you're
street I drive
you're driving
down, yeah.
around and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I did that." Yeah.
It happens all the time.
So when you do a piece, do you put a mark on there? Is there, or is it just
When I do original pieces, I do.
Okay.
If it's just a restoration, then I don't.
Oh, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of slip your business card in there somewhere so I can find it later.
That'd be nice.
Well, that's good to know, man. This is interesting. I'm gonna take a look around. Okay, so we are here back at the shop, and you touched on the restoration part of things, and Philip's back there, and he's your right hand man. So you were talking before about if somebody brought you a door, stained glass door, and maybe it's 40 years old, you could actually match that glass, or possibly match the glass with
Correct.
the manufacturer.
Yeah, there's a couple of manufacturers that we deal with that have been making stained glass for over 100 years. And it's interesting to do restorations on old projects and be able to source the glass from the original source.
Yeah, that's
just
amazing.
made 100 years later.
That is incredible. And you were talking about the different colors of glass and the price points on those glass. You had something interesting to say about pink glass.
Well, yeah, an interesting thing about glass, stained glass in general, is that it's colored with metal oxides, not with pigments. And that's why ultraviolet light does not bother it at all.
Oh,
It does not fade, it does not wear out. Give it 100 years
It's going to
of
have
direct
that
sunlight,
vibrant color forever.
it'll stay.
Yeah.
And so we use, or when they make the glass itself, they use different metallic oxides, manganese, copper, selenium, chromium, and one of the things that they use is gold, and that gives the pink color.
Wow.
It makes pink glass very expensive.
Yes. So do you get a lot of orders for that? Not really.
Well,
no.
you know, when you need pink, you need pink.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
Yeah.
You gotta have it. So, with restorations as well, and we're not just talking about windows here. I see a lamp, I see
Yes.
a door, I see artwork. So you cover the whole gamut, and there's nothing that's off limits, really.
Yeah, of course, stained glass windows is what everyone thinks
Mhm.
of, but then there's a lot of little side things, and we get into sculptures and just all kinds of creative uses with glass as well.
So if somebody's out there and they have a lamp or they have an idea for a really cool hanging piece that
No
you have here,
project too weird.
Exactly.
We
Yeah,
love the,
bring it on.
love the
right?
strange stuff.
Bring it on.
Love it.
So this is a family-owned business since 1977. The whole
Yes.
family's involved.
Yeah.
And you still love it. You still come in
I
every day and
love
still love it. Yeah.
I still love it.
Yeah. It's the entrepreneurial spirit in you, and then meets the artist, and it's been a fun ride for you, man.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's great to see a store like this in Whittier. It's a hidden gem, and I want everybody to come out and check it out, and maybe they have a project that you can work
Always
on.
happy to talk about stained glass with people.
Definitely. So I appreciate your time. It's been fun, and we'll be seeing a lot of each other because I
Sounds
have
great.
a couple ideas myself.
Good deal.
All right, we'll see
right.
you next time.